Hey y'all, my name is Madi Cheever. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, certified health education specialist, type 1 diabetes specialized coach, and the face and founder of Type 1 Type Fun. And I also live with type 1 diabetes. I share stories, resources, and tips to make diabetes management easier and a lot more relatable and fun. All right, today is going to be kind of different if you guys are okay. We're doing a little bonus lightning type of podcast, which I am super excited about because I have something essential to share with you. And I really want you to have those active listening ears for the next 10 minutes because what I say might change your life. And it includes my new book. That is the most wild thing that I could possibly imagine saying. I am an author, and I don't know, I feel so fortunate and overwhelmed with joy. I want to tell you guys a little bit about this, if that's okay. I want you to understand why I wrote this and who it's going to benefit and why you should definitely grab a copy. P.S. The link is in the show notes. You don't even have to wait. Just go ahead and grab one while you're thinking about it. But I want to tell you a few things. So for anyone who is not already familiar, I wrote this book for several reasons, but I was recently invited to speak at the TCOYD, which stands for Take Care of Your Diabetes, 2025 conference. It was fantastic, amazing, incredible. They are wonderful human beings. They're such a vibe. They're so fun. They're silly, goofy, just like me, which is why I just feel like we have this wonderful collaboration. And so 10 years ago, though, we're doing a flashback real quick. 10 years ago, my dad took me to their day conference. They had a one-day conference. It was at the San Diego Convention Center. And he was like, I'll pay for us. Let's go. I said, okay, why not? And I went through, I was probably one of the youngest people there, of course. They're usually geared for adults. And so I was almost an adult. But I went, it was so great. I had food. There were other people who had a CGM just like me. What's on your arm? I know. I don't have to ask that, right? I was actually just walking with my gal pal the other day, and a dude on rollerblades rolled up to me and was like, is that an iPod? I was like, no, it's an insulin pump. I have type 1 diabetes. He said, oh, and then he rolled away. So that still happens, but not when you're at a type 1 conference, which is awesome. So 10 years ago, my dad took me to this conference. It was the most amazing, incredible experience. And there was a pageant queen on the stage talking about diabetes advocacy. I really don't remember all of her message, but I just remember how she made me feel. And that feeling was empowered and inspired. And I remember thinking to myself, one day I'm going to be on that stage. One day I will make people feel how she made me feel. She's a pageant queen. I used to do some pageants. Definitely haven't done that in a long, long time. But I was like, oh my gosh, I saw myself in her. Sure, we don't look the exact same. Sure, we have different backgrounds, but we had this really powerful, important connection. And that changed the game for me. And of course, by that time, I confirmed I was going to go to college, going to be a dietitian, going to work in diabetes. I knew all the things. I haven't looked back since. I'm one of those lucky kids who knew what they wanted to do and never looked back. Now, 14-year-old Maddie would never believe that, but it was true, right? So that's what happened 10 years ago. That conference kind of changed my life. Now, fast forward a few years, I go to college. I finish college. I go to college part 2. And I'm during college part 2 getting my master's in public health. I did health education and promotion for anyone who's not familiar. I made a friend. And that friend became my friend because he was always talking about type 1 diabetes. And I was always talking about type 1 diabetes. And I would hype up his stuff and he would hype up my stuff because we had discussions boards and whatnot. It was kind of still a virtual time because COVID, whatnot. But so we were hyping each other up and we got to connecting. And anyways, that was my master's program bestie at the time. We didn't get to talk too much, but I knew he was always there for me and I was always there for him. Well, fast forward to not even 2 years ago, we reconnected and we do some Zoom calls here and there just to connect, just to chat. And, he's just so fun. He's actually, if I'm recalling correct, sitting for his CDCES this week. So Aaron, if you're listening, good luck. And I hope that everything goes very well. But he and I connected and I learned that he had connections to TCOYD. And I was like, oh my gosh, Aaron, you have to put in a good word for me. Please, please, please. That's my dream stage. You have to let them know. I would love to be there. I'd love to collaborate. I'd love anything I possibly can. Please. And so he was like, okay, sure. Yeah. So some time goes by and I was like, pressure them, pressure them, pressure them. He was like, not yet. We'll see. We'll see. I was like, okay, okay. And so he put in a good word for me. And then anyways, in March, it's 2025, so March 2025, I get this email from one of the folks at TCOYD, and she's like, "Hey, Maddie, would you like to speak at the conference?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Heck yes, I'm there." I was just so excited. I didn't even like. I don't even know if I read the whole thing. And she's like, "Yes, absolutely, I did read the whole thing eventually," but I was just so excited that I had to say yes. So I learned that the answer was yes. I was going to be on that stage in August of 2025. My dream of the last decade was going to come true. And so I said, okay, how do I say thank you to every single person in that room? I was told that I was going to get a room with about 50 people, 50 chairs. So I was like, okay, how do I say thank you? Like, this is my dream come true. How can I make everyone feel so special and appreciated for being there? And that's when I decided to get serious about finishing my book. I actually started it almost 2 years ago, but it's kind of the thing like, have you ever done a New Year's resolution where you do it for 2 weeks and then you never do it again? And then you think about it when the next New Year's comes around? That's basically what I did with the start of this book. And so I was writing the bones, I had the structure, but I just really hadn't told all the stories and put my voice into it yet. But in March, when they said I'm speaking, I said, you know what? This is now my mission. I'm doing this because I want everyone to have a free copy when I'm there. And so that's why I wrote this book. So from March to August, I did hardcore grinding on this over 350-page book. Am I going to recommend that timeline to anyone? No, there was a lot of weekends and late nights, but it happened. And so if you want to make anything happen, lesson learned, you can. But I wrote this book to say thank you to everyone in that room. That's reason number one. I wrote that book, okay? Look, reason number two is because I wanted this book to change one person's life with diabetes. I wanted it to change their blood sugar for the best. And fortunately, it hasn't even been 2 weeks from the conference. I've actually learned that I've changed two people's lives with this book. And one gal approached me during the conference and she was like, "So I read the first 10 chapters." Like, "Girl, are you like a reader?" She's like, "Yeah, I read like 500 books a year." I was like, "Okay, Papa, that's awesome. What'd you learn?" And she was like, "Well, you talked in the book about how at breakfast, or you talked about meal timing and insulin, da da da. So usually this happens with my blood sugar, but because you explained this, I tried this at breakfast this morning, and my blood sugars never worked at breakfast until this morning." I'm sorry, what? Your blood sugar works, but it never does? How long have you had diabetes? And I think she told me it's been over 2 decades. It might have been 3 decades. Whoa. So within 24 hours, you read some of my book, and she did happen to come see me speak, which a lot of what I spoke about is in this book, anyways. And that changed her blood sugar. I had another gentleman tell me a very similar thing. It actually helped with his nutrition specifics. And then he's type 1 too. So it helped with blood sugar, but he feels more confident with nutrition now. Whoa. So, two things. I wanted everyone to feel appreciated for being there, and I wanted to change one person's life. This book has done its job. That's it. I don't care if I profit from this. I mean, that'd be cool, but like, I don't care. And how much do I not care that I don't even need to profit from this? I want you to have a free copy because I want to explain what's in here, right? The first 280 pages, give or take, I think it's actually 279 pages, and then the blank page, if we're counting it as, okay, 280. The first 280 pages are about empowerment and inspiration and motivation. It's going to be this journey and you're going to get to know me. And I don't mean to make it about me, but you have to know some of my story for you to actually understand what I'm saying throughout this book. It's raw, it's emotional. I don't know if anyone else is a crier, but I'm a crier and I think I cried 11 or 12 times. There's a cry count in this book. So if you cry for like a cute movie or like cry for a military coming home video or anything, that's me too. So that's why I kept the cry count, just because I realized how many people have so in depth impacted my life. But, anyways, it takes you through this journey, your journey. So you have to know a little bit about me, but it's on you from there. And it tells you how to think about diabetes. Not that you have to, I'm not telling you how to live your life, but it can give you a reframe. And sometimes I find that a reframe really changes everything, or it can if you allow it. So it gives you the reframe. It gives you the strategy, the understanding of how to think about things. I'm not even telling you what to think, but just maybe how we could think about them. And then it breaks some things down. I want to break down some barriers. I want to break down some outdated advice. I want you to understand your blood sugar for you. I don't want you to understand my blood sugar. I mean, that'd be cool too, but I want you to understand your blood sugar. Why? Because when you wake up, I don't want you to spike. And when you eat, I want you to make sure that your blood sugar maybe goes up a little bit, comes back down. You're not going high, you're not going low, you're not confused, you're not overwhelmed, you're not frustrated, you don't have beeper fatigue. You're good. You're safe. And then I want you to have fun dinners. I want you to go out with your gal pals. I want you to have that weekend, that holiday, that whatever it may be, going to the family dinner. I want you to do those things. And I want you to have great blood sugar there. But I also want to make sure that you're not stuck a whole high all night because of that whole digestive thing that happens. And then you're like, well, I was in the 200s all night. For my millimole folks, double digits. I want you to have that. I want you to travel. I want you to explore. I don't want you to feel fear. I want you to feel like you can live your life. And oh, yeah, I just have to manage diabetes a little bit. That is what this book is for. And if you are that person that wants freedom, true freedom, live your life, and you also have diabetes, but like, you already got that. That's in the back burner at this point. That is what this is for. I want you to rewrite the rules of your diabetes. If something doesn't work, what are you going to do about it? I challenge you because I know you can. If you pick this up, I know you can. So what are you going to do different? The subtitle of this, it's called You Have Permission. And then the subtitle, which if you can see here, is Eat Sugar, Fire Your Doctor, and Rewrite the Rules of T1D. Now, let me give my disclaimer here. If you have a wonderful, amazing doctor that you love, that is so supportive, that is so kind, keep that doctor, please. Keep that doctor. But if you have a doctor that maybe you don't feel supported by, maybe you don't feel encouraged by, maybe every time you go to that doctor, they make you feel like you're not doing enough, that you are maybe a little bit of an inconvenience, that your questions are stupid. If that is that doctor, I'm giving you permission. Now, of course, be mindful with like insurance and the options you have available, like do what you have to do to make sure that you're okay. But there are options, right? You can find them if you have your eyes open, if you're looking. And then we're rewriting the rules. Okay? So it's breaking it down, making it make sense. You're finding your voice. You're taking up space with diabetes. Okay? You are not a burden. You're not a barrier. You are here. You deserve to be here. And we're going to talk about it. That's the first 280 pages. I know that was a lot, but I hope you're excited like I am. And then there's another 70 something pages, 70 and some change. I think it's like, I don't know, 76, 77, something like that. But the last 70 pages are hardcore diabetes education. Hardcore as in, I give you the good stuff, okay? The stuff that you wish someone would have explained to you years ago because, oh, that makes so much sense. Why didn't I know that? Why didn't someone tell me that? Why didn't my endocrinologist teach me that? If that's you, that's what's in the back of the book. I talk about the nutrition side of things, the exercise side of things, the insulin side of things, and how it all comes together. Honestly, the amount of education that's in this book, that back 70 something pages alone, it should cost like $1,000. It should, right? Because the amount of time it would take to seek specialists and go to appointments and implement that knowledge and all that, it would take a lot of time and some money. And I'm giving this to you for free today. Click the link in the description. I want you to have this knowledge. You deserve it. Diabetes education should be accessible. And it should make sense. And I think it should be a little fun, which is why I have this for you today. If you stuck through this whole podcast, I know this was our bonus lightning thing. Thank you for allowing me this soapbox. I know I came at you hard and I came at you with intention. Thank you for listening to my story. I want to help you. That's it. That's all. And if you aligned with anything I said today, grab this book. Worst case scenario, you never read it. Best case scenario, you learn one thing that changes your life. I challenge you to go find that one thing. That's it for today, my friends, but the fun doesn't stop here. If you liked this episode and want more real talk diabetes support, come hang out with me on social. Just search Type 1 Type Fun, all words, or head to type1typefun.com for tools, tips, freebies, and real life resources you can actually use. And if this episode made you laugh, learn, or feel a little more seen, feel free to leave a comment, give it a like, share it with someone you love. But until next time, live empowered, be silly, have fun, and eat some carbs.